it's sheep sharing season in the Eastern Cape now.
Yeah, I know. I know. Are you going to help?
Now, mine have not yet. Come again?
Are you going to go help?
Of course.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we're operating we're operating communal as villagers.
Yeah, but you're doing well in terms of the wool export to China.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember, you still
and
have.
we're now trying to upgrade our livestock as villagers.
Mm-hmm. What is what is the number of your head in terms of the EU?
It's none of your business.
Oh, we have two again, man. I got you on record here.
Yeah. It's none of your business, that one.
Okay, let's give Chair time to take over
now. Good afternoon, members. Good afternoon. I can see Member Masipa and Member they don't see each other quite often, or they're scared of each other when they meet in their house sitting. So they make use of this opportunity, but it's a good thing. But nevertheless, I just want to make sure, Ms. Adams, are we corrected?
Oh, apologies, Chair. The problem with my mute button. Yes, we are quoted.
Okay, and the department is also here.
Yes, the Minister and Department are here. HOD is here as well.
Okay. Welcome. My name is Noma Franjimbombo, the chairperson of the mobility, and with me is Ms. Adams, who is assisting. We are here to deliberate on Vote 8, which is the mobility schedule to the Western Cape Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2025. So I won't receive any apology, but I'm aware that the minister is traveling to the Port West, so might have a problem with the network. So in case it happens, we want to apologize on his behalf that he might not necessarily use the camera during the process. Over to you, members, for the introduction.
Dr. Masipa, I'm a member of this committee. Thank you, Chairperson.
Benson Wenzo, the member of this committee. I don't think, Chair, we should accept the apology of the MEC because he was aware well in advance about this committee meeting.
No, for camera. Sorry, for camera. No, he's not apologizing, he won't be here because he has to go, his appropriation is his budget.
No, here's the issue.
The camera.
No, here's the issue. We must not be told that the MEC can't respond with this and that because of connectivity challenges.
Good afternoon, Chair. I'm Leon van Wyk, a member of this committee.
Good afternoon, Chair. Derek Wessels, member of this committee.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, colleagues. Lord Constable, member of this committee.
Good afternoon, Chair. Brett Heron, member of the committee.
Over to you, Minister and HOD. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, and good afternoon to honorable members and to the officials, to the HOD and CDs present. And I'm Isaac Sileku, Minister of Mobility in the Western Cape. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Minister, good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon, colleagues of the department. I'm Hamida Fakira, HOD of the Mobility Department.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, members, Minister, HOD, Deodara Bernard, Chief Director, Transport Operations.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. My name is Rian Wiggle, the Acting Chief Director, Management Support Services, CFO.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon, Minister and honourable members. All protocol observed. Maxine Bezaidenert, Chief Director, Traffic Management.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Good afternoon, members. Godfrey Reed, Chief Director, Regulation.
Thank
Good
you.
afternoon, Chairperson, members. Rian Fourie, Acting Chief Director, GMT.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, members, Minister. Viola Tunjalo, Head of Ministry.
Yeah, thank you very much. Members, please you mute if you are not speaking. Actually, for everyone, if you're not speaking. And also, please do flag points of order in the chat function on this. If there are any members of the from the community, from the public, please, Ms. Adams, please let me know. For the department, Minister, we did receive the graphics, which is make it easier. But also for the members, we are on page 177 to 195 in terms of the votes where it's needed. Through you, HOD, I'm not sure whether you will be flagging the graphics or flagging the PowerPoint presentations. Noting that we don't have much time, we are providing the maximum of an hour for this deliberation, including some questions. Thank you very much. Over to you, Minister.
No, Chair, firstly, thank you very much to you and the honorable members for making time to meet with us as a department so that we can actually present our adjustment budget to you. One positive, Chair, from the process that we engage in as competing with other departments, we're very fortunate enough to get extra money. And that will actually help us as a department to do some of the work that we want to do. And we are very much encouraged by that. Because we all know everybody wants extra. And when you get extra, you know, the challenge will always be why you be able to spend. And there has been a commitment from the side of the department that whatever we're able to receive is actually going to assist us to actually fulfill our role as a Department of Mobility. And Chair, and I would like us to also have more time for engagement so that we are able to explain the detail, you know, in terms of the funding that we have received and how is it going to have an impact in making sure that the most vulnerable are also attended to. And I'm also encouraged that the pilot that we started in Beaufort West and the Central Karoo and in TWK in terms of inter-town rural solutions, that we're able to get extra funding so that we're able to see that pilot actually realized. So, Chair, with those few words, thank you very much once again for inviting us. And I will give over to the colleagues so just to flight our graphics and then we can engage on the specifics. Thank you very much, Chair.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Chair. We've got a graphics presentation by the CFO, Rian Wiggle, who's going to go through it and explain the change in the budget on a program per program basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Through you, I just want to confirm that my screen can be seen and the graphic is visible.
We can see it, Rian. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Our main appropriation was 3.22 billion, and that increased by 141.6 million to 3.36 billion. At a program level, the increases were 5 million for administration, transport operations, 110 million increase, transport regulation, 34 million increase, and traffic management, 11 million increase. I'll get to the details of those increases
shortly. But from an economic classification, current payments increased by 73.5 million, transfers and subsidies paid 36.6 million, and then also payments for capital assets 31.2 million, and there was a minor increase in payments for financial assets of 214,000. This was funded by revenue retention 28.8 million, rollover of funds 5.8 million, own revenue 14 million, and the majority of the funding coming from the Provincial Revenue Fund of 92.9 million. So, Chairperson, I'll just go through the main movements per that revenue source that we indicated now. From a revenue retention perspective, the 28.8 million, we are intending to fund the following for that. So it's not program specific, but it's divided into all the programs. So procurement of Adobe and Microsoft licenses, there's 5 million. The development of integrated transport plans, just over 1.3 million. Then the upgrade of the HOD boardroom at 27 Wales Street, 500,000. And then the modernization of the 6th floor on 27 Wales Street, 2.4 million. And then also the installation and access control of CCTV monitors at 11 Leuven Street, 436,000. Then also Park and Ride, we've allocated 3.3 million, was allocated to us. And then also the Provincial Sustainable Transport Program, 9.3 million. Then on Program 3, we've got a service delivery truck that we're going to think that's going to cost 1.7 million. That's also funded from that 28.8 million. And then also some of the changes in the regulations, the legislative landscape, additional 4.7 million. Then from the 5.8 million, which I referred to earlier as the provincial rollover of provincial funds, we are intending to procure wheel mass meters also in Program 3. Then on the increase in own revenue, this is revenue that we collected above our baseline. And this is more specifically for issuing licenses for abnormal loads, permits. That's 14 million, and that's for the procurement of handheld devices in traffic management. Then moving over to the 92.9 million, which we received from the Provincial Revenue Fund, we are going to spend those funds on the following. Intertown Rural Transport Solution, 2.9 million. Shahela Smart, 4.3 million. Dialer Ride, the transfer to the City of Cape Town, that's 10 million. And then also Jipton, our operations in George, just over 56.5 million. That makes up the majority of the funding that we received. Then, Chairperson, there was also an increase in the motor vehicle license agency fees that we paid to municipalities. That was 19.2 million. And the reason for that is what we put into our budget was a 3% increase in the motor vehicle license fees, but there was actually an increase of 4.5% in the fiscal framework, and that 19.2 million makes up that difference, and that is also allocated to Program 3. Chairperson, just moving to some of the prioritization, and specifically from our notes from the previous year. We've jotted down a few questions that were asked. And last year, there was a question on the reprioritization of compensation of employees. That's listed on page 178. We are moving 4.7 million from the total main appropriation of cost of employment, 635 million. So it's less than 1%, which we are reprioritizing to other areas. That
those areas are more specifically for the modernization of the office building in 27 Wales Street, and also for the NLTA amendment bill that's going to be repurposed for that. I just want to make a general comment in terms of our status of recruitment in the department and the filling of vacancies as we speak. There are 139 posts which are being in the process of being filled, and I can also report that the majority of that status of recruitment is an advanced stage. So in the shortlisting stage, 66 posts, and at the interview stage, already 40 posts. That's included there. So that links to our cost of employment. So from a capacity perspective, our department is doing our best to fill the vacancies and looking at managing our total cost of employment within the budget ceiling that we've got. Chairperson, that's on the Western Cape Mobility Department. With your permission, can I move over to GMT's infographic?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Thank you. So the one that was shared for government motor transport, the total budget, the original main appropriation was 1.71 billion, and that increased by 572 million to 2.29 billion. I'll get to that movement now. So you would notice that there were no changes in the revenue side except the funds from funding from own resources, moving from 628 million to 1.2 billion. So what it actually tells us that there's no changes in the tariffs which GMT charges to its client institutions. The business model of GMT is of such a nature that it collects funds, and for the vehicle replacement cycle and to fund its operations, it's what we are seeing now. So there's no changes, especially if you look at the top line item, 911 million, and that is daily and kilometer tariffs included in that specific line item. Moving over to the expenditure side, this pertains to the operations, personnel, administration, operating leases, and vehicle replacements. So the majority of the funds that we've just spoken about in the increase sits at the last line item, vehicle replacements, and that's due to the trading entity being on a accrual accounting framework, and the purchase orders that we issued during the previous financial year of 24-25 moves over to this year. And from a funding perspective, those open purchase orders create commitments, either as capital or operating commitments, and then we need to fund that from a cash flow perspective in this financial year. So the funds from own resourcing moves from this line item over here to basically the payment of vehicle replacements. That's the majority of the movement. Then there was also a decrease in operations, and more specifically operating expenditure due to grants and subsidies paid. In our environment, we refer to that as subsidies, grants paid. So what we did was we reduced that amount by taking 30 million for the development of EV infrastructure. We reducing that, and also 50 million reducing that from our expense line that we don't foresee to use this year. It does not have any impact on the tariffs of the clients because those funds were already collected in the past, and basically it's used now for a service delivery perspective, and then we envisage to develop a regional hub in the West Coast, also similar to what we've done in George, and the EV infrastructure is part of our new energy vehicle rollout and our plan within the province. And for that, we will be working with our sister department, the Department of Infrastructure, to fund and develop that infrastructure from operations perspective. Chairperson, thank you. That's that.
Thank you very much. Members, we've got the presentation in terms of the appropriation from the department. Again, to remind you that you can also pose questions from the actual group, which is 77 to 195. Looking now for the hands. Is there anything else you want to add, Minister?
Chair, no, I'm comfortable, and thanks to Rian for the presentation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions or any comments? I've seen Member Masipa. Is there any other hands? That's one. Member Haram. Member Nate. Thank you very much in that order.
Chair, thank you. Thank you really for the presentation, Minister, and your department. Mine is not really a question, but it's really to commend you on the work that you are doing, especially in the Central Karoo, because primarily, from economic development and tourism point of view, we are really looking at local economic development, and mobility is central to ensuring that there is obviously economic activities taking place, and obviously addressing the G4J, ensuring that we grow jobs and we grow economy and mobility and transport. Your allocation, I just want to say, is welcome, and so we will really be watching closely as to how it translates into jobs and into local economy stimulation. Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Department, for the work that you do. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Haram.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I'm on page 183 of the book, and I'm starting with Program 2. The allocation of 56 million rand to the George Integrated Public Provincial Transport Plan, the GIPTN, is that, can we just get an explanation as to how that additional funding will be spent? Is it to be transferred to George Municipality for operations? Because on page, unless I'm reading this wrong, page 189, where we see summary of transfers, I don't see 56 million being transferred. So can we get an explanation as to how that 56 million rand additional funding will be deployed for the GIPTN? I think I did hear the CFO saying that the 10 million rand for differently abled mobility program is for the dial-a-ride program. So is that an in-year top-up of the allocation already provided to the City of Cape Town to operate dial-a-ride? In other words, is it an assistance to the City of Cape Town to address the funding shortfall for dial-a-ride that arose a couple of months ago? The 2.8 million for the introduction of 3 scheduled routes in Beaufort West is interesting. Is this a new internal public transport service within Beaufort West? Because it also says as part of inter-town rural transport. So is it between Beaufort West and another town, or is it a public transport service that will operate in Beaufort West? And if so, who's operating it, or is it to be put out on tender? How will it be operated? I'm going to jump to page 186. The decrease in expenditure by reduction in transfers to Golden Arrow compared to last year at the same period. Why is there a 10% reduction in transfers to Golden Arrow bus services? Was that planned, and does it mean that there's a reduction in services? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Member Nancy, and we have also Member Constable.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me welcome the report from the official MEC. I think it would be important for me to acknowledge the update in respect to what we've been characterizing as a chronic crisis of vacancies. And the update which were just presented are giving some degree of hope in respect to the 139 posts, which are going to be filled as soon as possible, with 66 under shortlisting, about 44 busy with interviews, because we've been very hard and harsh in respect to this particular question. I think we need to commend that work. What we do not know as yet, despite the resolution of this committee, is whether the filling of those vacancies will be in line with the transformation agenda of equity, of addressing the equity targets, and ensure that the department, and some departments in particular, the department is no longer a male-dominant department. Chair, and I think it's important to welcome the budget adjustment increase. For now, our area of interest around the whole notion of rollovers, in two key programs. And the such programs include Program 1, which relate to the procurement of Adobe and Microsoft licenses, and Program 3, transport regulations. Now, for Program 1, rollover, one is interested on what might have been the cause for the delay in finalizing the procurement, of this Adobe and Microsoft license during the financial year under review. And were there any binding commitments or orders placed before the end of the financial year in line with the National Treasury requirements for rollovers? We're deeply interested also to understand which service providers were identified or contracted for the supply of these software licenses. And finally, on this program, what is the breakdown of costs for the licenses, and what are the expected improvements in administrative efficiency or compliance as a result of this procurement? And finally, on Program 3, the rollover and transport regulation, we are interested in the specific reasons for the delay as well in procuring wheels mass meters for vehicle testing centers. And also which testing centers were affected by this delay, and what impact did it have on service delivery, regulatory compliance in particular, or road safety functions? Who is the appointed or intended supplier, and was there legal binding financial commitment in place before year end? And the second last question relates to the number of wheel mass meters that are being procured, and what is the unit cost for each device? And finally, what steps the department has put in place to prevent similar delays in future procurement cycles, particularly for equipment critical to roadworthiness testing and public safety? Thank you very much, Chair. Those are my questions for this round. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Constable.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good afternoon, colleagues. Chair, now allow me to thank the MEC and his department for listening to us, specifically the people of the Central Peru, with this intertown transport. The people of Maritzburg and surrounding areas will be very glad to see there's definitely ears, and there's definitely people speaking for them. So thank you for that. I will not ask any questions on that because Member Heron already covered me with regards to the detail of how the implementation will work. Chair, my question is on the Golden Arrow decrease. Remember when we spoke to Golden Arrow a few weeks ago, I raised questions with regards to more buses to, I think it was the southern areas of Cape Town, southern or northern areas. And the issue was specifically if they receive more funding, then they can expand to other areas. And at that stage, I hope that the department will listen to them. If we decrease their funding, how will it then assist areas such as Kraaifontein and other areas to make sure that they also receive the same kind of service or service delivery from the Golden Arrow bus services? If there can be an explanation for that, Chair, I will be very happy. If there's no explanation now, what is the future then of expanding the services of the Golden Arrow bus services to other areas where people really need that kind of services? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Minister. Over to you. You
Thank you very
guide
much,
me in terms
Chair.
of that, whatever you're going to provide. I'm
Yeah.
going to ask HOD to explain to them.
Okay, cool. No, thank you very much, Chair. Firstly, Chair, thank you very much for the questions. And I will deal with the easy ones, and the HOD and the team will deal with the operational questions. But firstly, I need to acknowledge and thank Member Masipa for acknowledging the work that the department has been doing. And it's very encouraging that with all the noise that we hear, in terms of the challenges that we are confronted with, that still there is light at the end of the tunnel. And those words is really coming at the right time, where it can actually motivate the team, so that they don't lose hope, but they keep on keeping on, so that we are able to realize what we want to do as a department. So from our side and on behalf of the department, thank you very much for those words. Let us go to the element of appointments raised by member names. I think, this question was raised as well when we dealt with the annual report. And I gave an answer specifically to this particular question. And the answer was that we do at times appoint people based on equity, but it's not the only thing that one would have to look at. But we will need to look at someone that is capable. And then when someone is capable, then you must be able to do given the job. But also it doesn't mean that we don't consider the demographics of our province when it comes to appointment. But also it would be unfair for people to appoint for the sake of appointing, because you don't want to face critical questions in terms of equity. So we do have equity targets, and then we look at them whenever we have to make those appointments. And even the selection panel would also have to consider before they actually recommend a particular individual. And also to make and assure member names that we really want to make sure that everybody that is competent and is able to get a job gets a job. And also I can attest to it by the fact that if you look at the demographics of our Chief Director, Traffic Management, and I hope you will be happy to see that she's also part of this province, and she has not only been appointed by virtue of coming from a different area, she was also, it helped her, but also what worked for her is the fact that she's competent, she has more than 28 years in traffic, and that's why she was appointed. So we are committed to making sure that we appoint people based on skill, based on capability, and making sure, and also the fact that we are part of this province. And this province is very diverse. And everybody in this province who's competent and can do the job will be appointed. Thank you very much. And I will give the rest of the questions to the team. HOD.
Thank you very much, Minister and Chairperson. We've got quite a few questions to take, and therefore a few allocations from my side. All of the questions are related to Program 2, but George, Dal, Ride, and so on. Chief Director Deirdre will be addressing in terms of a question relating to the wheel mass meters, which is the transport regulations. Advocate Godfrey will attend to it, and the question on the procurement, the late procurement of Adobe licenses is going to be addressed by Shobha. Thank you.
Chairperson, HOD Minister, through you, just in terms of Member Heaven's question around the GIPTN, and the 56 million. The way it is split, Member Heron, is between direct operating costs. So that is what the public transport network grant doesn't cover, or is not allowed to cover in terms of the framework. So this is the rates that gets paid to the vehicle operating company, as you're aware. So this is also to roll out in Tembeletu. So it is
2025 Sunday Times best.
Apologies. So that is to roll out in Tembeletu from Tembeletu to the Garden Route Mall. It is to roll out the Uniondale service. It's to cover existing operating costs. It deals with infrastructure upgrades as well as compensation for operators that are now impacted by this particular rollout. It is split between goods and services as well as a transfer, with the majority of it being transferred to the municipality. In terms of dial-a-ride, the 10 million that Member Heron asked, it is in addition to the existing 10 million, and it is around the cut in services, Member Heron. So that is what the dial-a-ride contribution will buy. In terms of the intertown service, this is an intertown solution that's been developed between the towns of Beaufort West, Laingsburg, Prince Albert, Nelspruit, Lechamka, Maritzburg, and Merivale. So it is a scheduled service. It is to be with the existing operators. It will happen as similarly to George, where we go into an intergovernmental agreement with the participating municipalities, and we contract the affected operators. Then in terms of Golden Arrow, the 10% reduction, this is specifically in line with the public transport operating grant that we receive from National. There was a reduction in the grant. So what we do is we engage Golden Arrow around subsidized services and unsubsidized. We aim to not reduce services where we can and put it to the unsubsidized services in collaboration with Golden Arrow. So you will look at, I don't have the page in front of me in terms of the kilometers as well as the routes covered. It is not a large percentage reduction because it now goes to unsubsidized services. I think I've covered Member Heron's questions around that. And then in terms of Member Constable's question with Golden Arrow, unfortunately, we do engage on a monthly basis with Golden Arrow. We try and shift services to where the greatest need is, Member Constable. But if PTOG is reduced, it is there's very little we can do about that. Our challenge right now is to use our existing allocation to not only cover metro, but do a lot of work in the non-metro areas as well. So we are doing our best to make sure that we don't reduce services. So what we do is we try and combine routes. The passenger may have to wait a little extra time outside of peak periods, but that is how best we can balance demand and supply. Thank you, HOD.
Thank you, Deirdre. Shoba, on the
HOD.
licenses. Oh, it's Rian. Okay, sorry.
Yes, HOD. I will take the question on program 1. There was a question about the Microsoft licenses. There were a few subsections to that question, more specifically agreement, binding agreement. There was also a question about the pricing, etc. So we've got an agreement with CEI, which buys the licenses and claim back from our department. That agreement was in place by the end of March, and those licenses were procured on behalf of the Western Cape Mobility Department. Looking at the nature of those licenses, it's varying depending on the usage within the department. We've got a user base in excess of 1,215 licenses in the department. We pay for the additional ones. And based on what those users require from a Microsoft perspective, it affects the pricing. So if I just look at the pricing schedule, for example, it refers to Project P3 FSA renewal per license, Teams Premium, Capilot sub-licensing, Visio licensing, P2 FSA. And if we look at the general price per license, it's approximately 9,411 Rand that we pay in terms of that commitment. Thank you, HOD.
Thank you. Reid, Godfrey?
I'm back. Thank you, Chair. May I proceed? So
Yes,
in relation to the question dealing with the wheel mass meters, I can just confirm that those monies were only asked for during the adjustments budget of 2024, and confirmation received thereafter, say after November. Time was then too little to actually determine the list of municipalities who would be assisted, and for that reason a request for a rollover of those funds were made. It was decided that because there are only a very limited group of service providers who could assist the department in this regard, that we would go for a limited bid, but a limited bid in a manner that would bring in some form of competition. So 3 bidders or 3 potential service providers dealing in this specific or providing these specific goods were then approached to submit quotations or quotes, and the cheapest of those were then granted or awarded the bid. In terms of the list of municipalities, that list is available, but I would not know the names of the municipality from the top of my head. So if the member would allow me, I would then be able to provide the specific name of the municipalities, names of the municipalities that were assisted, as well as the specific service provider that were awarded the bid. I have approached my team now to start searching for that information. As I say, the information is in the system. It is just that I don't know them from the top of my head. So if I get the information while the meeting is still on, I might then share that information if the chairperson would allow me so. Alternatively, I can respond to that in writing. Thank you.
Thank you,
very
Chair.
much. You wanted to add, sorry, HOD?
No, it's okay, Chair. I was just saying, I think we've attended to all of the questions. So the first round of questions, thank you.
Okay, I'm looking at the time. Sorry for that. It looks like the whole area, the whole fiber data just went down. I see a hand from a member, Mensu. I'm not sure whether it's a follow-up. Over to you, Member Mensu.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, it's a follow-up. Thanks for the attempt to respond to my questions. I think for the last question in respect to transport regulations, I think attempts were made to respond to it quite comprehensively. In the course of the response, a statement is made to say a limited bid was explored, and to that point, about 3 service providers were procured. Unfortunately, and this is a matter which we discussed at our last annual report meeting, and here we are not told, we're not given details of those service providers, which are 3, and also this is important given the fact that it's a limited bid. In respect to program 1, again, details in respect to those service providers are not given, here. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. So those are the details which, in my view, are quite important. I know the fact that you may not know out of your head the number of municipalities, but of course you committed that you are going to furnish us with that. Because we feel that it is important for us to have these details to understand the fundamental basis for the rollovers, which have become a trend throughout many of the departments in the provincial government. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. I see a hand from Mr. Reid.
Chair, I have received the information. If you will just allow me to go to that page quickly. Yeah. So the 3 companies were approached. The cheapest one was appointed, and the name of that company is Synogen Trading as Fulcrum Technologies. So it's Synogen Trading as Fulcrum Technologies. They were the cheapest. Then in terms of the number of municipalities, there was a total of 26 municipalities or 26 municipal testing stations. And then what was procured with that money was 11 wheel mass meters and 17 play detectors. And then it is just confirmed that the reason why a rollover was requested was because there was insufficient time to determine what to give to which municipality. Since the monies were only received in the adjustments budget, a request was then made to roll it over. I also received a list of the municipalities now. If the member would want me to go through it, I can. And with this, there's also the specific amounts that were spent on each municipality. I suspect that that might take unnecessary time. So if the chairperson and the member agrees, I can then simply share the schedule containing the names of the different municipalities, the equipment that they were provided with, as well as the amount spent at that specific municipal testing station. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think we have exhausted all the questions for the appropriation. I just want to thank again the department for their presentation, more so for making the graphics to be readable. It does work a lot. Members, now we are going to take upon on those who support the budget for this appropriation, and then afterwards we can be able to. There's an information member Nganzu. Okay, let me stop there, member Nganzu.
Thank you very much. I understand that there is a time limit. The question I was put was just a follow-up, not a second round. I thought that you were going to provide us with a second round to further ask other questions. Should I go ahead?
You can go ahead, member Nganzu.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Chair. Chair, the expenditure trends presented here today reflect what one may describe as what mixed pattern, right? On the one hand, lower spending in certain areas due to procurement delays and staff resignations. On the other hand, higher spending on capital assets and technology. Now, given this, Chair, can the department perhaps clarify just 3 or 4 things? One, how does the department account for these divergent trends, particularly the underspending caused by what is termed as administrative and human resource constraint, alongside increased investment in capital assets and technological upgrades? And 2, at what extent do the procurement delays and staffing gaps signal systematic challenges within the department planning, contracting, and HR processes? Yes, we note what we have already reported in respect to the progress in attending to the challenges of vacancies. And thirdly, how does the department, MEC, and the HOD ensure that increased expenditure on capital assets and technology translate into measurable improvements in service delivery, rather than simply compensating for organizational inefficiencies? And finally, what corrective measures are being put in place to stabilize procurement timelines, study workforce planning, and ensure that future expenditure patterns align more closely with the department's annual performance plan? I thank you.
Thank you very much. The department is going to respond to that, but I just a reminder that there's still going to be a quarterly report sometime when we come back, where it does talk actually on those that you have just raised in terms of the expenditures. Because my understanding now with the appropriation, it's about with the shifting of the budget item lines, where now they've had an increase of the 141, of which is 92 of 141 million, of which 92 was coming from the provinces and the rest was coming from also on their own revenue. And then lastly, it was about the rollover of 5.8. Therefore, it meant that some of this shifting the budget item lines is related to what actually they are appropriating. It's just saying that there will be, when it comes to the quarterly reports, that's where now you will be able to see quite clearly in terms of the under expenditures and so forth. But it's up to the department to respond. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, I will attempt to respond on the comment concern raised by Member Ketsu. In terms of human resource constraint, which is then linking to underspending, it is actually one factor that we are addressing through the organizational review, the review of a design of a structure of a mobility department. So so that process is actually ongoing, and so far we've reached phase 2 about the functional model of a department. So our strategy is in place. I mean, you would have approved our strategy plan and all of that. It's just a question of now mapping the structure.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out where must I mute, who must I mute? I don't know. I think it's
apologies, Chair.
Is that coming from you? Okay.
Yeah, so Chair, if I may proceed. So,
yes, please. Thank you.
So the ideal organization will be one where the actual organizational design can respond to the strategic plan, and this is currently work in progress. It's a huge organization, so the review of the structure is going to be a 2-year project plan, which we have received from the CSC, from OD, HR from the Department of a Premier. So we are working on that on a continuous basis, depending on their availability as well, to ensure that we've got not just the right numbers, but the right skills in the right place. So that should then answer to fulfilling the objectives, the outcomes of the strategic plan of the organization. In terms of the expenditure, what are we corrective measures that we are putting in place? We've asked for 6 months procurement plan in the latest, looking at all of the trend in procurement. So the plan is to ensure that 6 months in advance, there is a plan on the table about what is it that we need to procure with a milestone of cases for bid specification committee, bid adjudication committee, and evaluation committee, with timelines being clearly defined. So in that sense, we should be able to manage late expenditure or rollovers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, HOD. Is there any follow-up, member notes? Any follow-up?
No, thanks, Chair.
All right, okay. Thank you very much. Through you, with you assisting me, Ms. Adams, I think now we can go ahead in terms of voting for the budget, and the department doesn't have to be excused. Am I right? It's up to them.
Yeah, Chair, we can, I think maybe just, I don't see any members of the public here. But I don't know if you want to double check, and then, yeah, you can go on to the expression on the vote.
Yeah, no, I've just checked now. I don't see them unless they are, I've just checked on who's on the, here online. So in that case, members, now it's up to you in regard to the vote 8 of the mobility in regard to the appropriation of the budget. There's a member, Van Wyk.
Chair, I'm just looking if we haven't released department as yet, have we?
Okay, my understanding was that it's up to them. Ms. Adams, can you please correct me? It's up to them whether they can leave or not.
Yes, Chair, you're correct. You made it the same if they choose to leave or not. That is their choice, since it's still a public meeting.
Yes, because the public is actually even looking at this if there is a public. Minister?
Apologies, Chair. Chair, if we can be excused, then we would appreciate that. And then you can continue with your business as a comment.
No problem. It's up to you, because in terms of the rules of the laws, it's because it's still a public processes. It's open to the public, so that's why whether the department can leave or stay, it's still gonna be. It doesn't make that the process is flawed. So yes, indeed, you can leave. We are excused, but again, thank you very much. All the best for tomorrow with the festive season and safety. And for some of us who will have wanted to be there, but next time we promise we are there in spirit. I'm aware that Member Ngenzo will be there, will be actually doing it also on behalf of us, the committee. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much, HOD and the department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, honorable members. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
See you on the ground, MEC.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you. You will be hosted by a member, constable. You will be in his staff. Thank you very much, members. I present to you the appropriation Western Cape Mobility Department Vote 8, which now it has increased by 141,662. Anyone to support? Hands? Okay, there are no hands now. Can we see the hands?
Not supported.
Supported. Or also
Supporting.
you? Okay. Thank you, Member Nganzu. You also supported?
No. I was saying not supported.
Or by you? No, we just wanted now the hands
Oh.
for those who are supporting first.
Now we caucus that you're going to support, Musa. Why are you dropping us?
Ms. Adams, have you managed the counting?
Yes, Chair, I've got it.
Okay. Then is there any minority view so that it could be also recorded? Can take down our hands. We have got the hand of,
Yes.
Yes, we've got the ANC.
Is that ANC supporting us now?
It's on a Friday, remember, Masip. So we've got the minority view, the ANC, of not supporting the budget. Any other? We're fine. Are we fine now, Member Ms. Adams? Can we go to the next? Okay, thank you. Members, firstly, I must read this before we go to the next one. Now, I'm reading the report of the Standing Committee on Mobility on Vote 8 in the schedule of the Western Cape Adjustment Appropriation Bill, dated 5th December 2025. The Standing Committee on Mobility reports that it has concluded its deliberations on Vote 8 mobility in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustment Appropriation Bill, referred to the Standing Committee in accordance with Standing Rules 188, and that it support the vote. In terms of the Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress expressed its minority view to not support the vote. Thank you very much, members. Thank you very much, Ms. Adams. And then the next thing is about any resolutions from this.
Apologies, Chair. I think the committee can adopt the report.
Oh, Member Nganzu already was adopting it. Sorry. So are you okay? Probably I forgot the hand. A proposer. Maybe he can't.
I will propose.
Thank you, Member Van Veek.
A second.
Thank you, Member Masipa. I think he's unable to take down the hand. Thank you very much. So are we done with this?
That one.
You can't support when he's got a view, a minority view. Ms. Adams, so we're done with this process.
Yes, Chair, we're done with the adjustments appropriation. We now have documents to adopt.
Okay, but is there any of the resolutions for this? Are we not supposed to first?
Members can do the resolutions now or after the adoption. It's up to the committee.
It's because we want to get done with this process and then we do the lasts, because these ones are the previous. There was a hand from Member Van Veek. Or it's a legacy hand?
No, not a legacy hand. What I noticed in the report that we had before us was I think it's an amount of 19 million in additional that's been paid out in terms of agency fees for motor vehicle licenses. And what I thought maybe we should be asking the department is if they have a tally, and it's important, I think, for data and for statistical purposes to compare the number of vehicle licenses that have been issued, has been paid for in 1 year through to the next year in the different municipalities, because that would also then give us an indication of to what extent is would the vehicle fleet be increasing across the province. So, maybe that is something that they can give us a report on at some stage. It's obviously not urgent. It's just a further bit of stats for us as committee members.
Thank you very much, Member Van Veek. You capture that, Ms. Adams?
Yes, I've got it, Chair.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is there any? Nothing? Thank you very much, members. We have closed this part now. We go to the next one, which is the minutes of the 19th of November. It's just for the adoption. And those ones were in relation to the e-hailing. Can we have, I think the members will have read it. Can we have the proposer? Member Masipa, thank you. And the seconder? Member Van Veek, thank you very much. The next one is the tracking document. Tracking document, it reflects on 2025, I think we had about 10 of engagements, and most of the resolution that came out of the engagements, mostly where it's applicable, were done. The last one, it was about the e-hailing, which is still, we have to follow them up for in the new year. Members or proposer?
Chair, yeah, look, I wasn't a member
proposed, Chair.
for the full time there.
Okay, thank you. We've got Member Van Veek and Member Constable. Got that, Ms. Adams?
Yes, no, I'm just saying I wasn't a member for the full time of that report. So,
okay, we've got, then let's put Member Masipa there and Member Constable. I get it, because it starts as the beginning of the financial year, the April. Okay, I think we've covered everything. Is there anything else, Member Adams?
Nothing, Chair. I think we're all good to adjourn.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues, members, and also from the staff for supporting us in this journey. This is our last committee meeting for the year. I wish you all the best. Safe travels. We will see you in the other committees. There's still going to be others next year, and also we're going to see you in the house when we do the debating. But thank you very much.
You must still pass the ball to Honorable Van Veek.
Okay, Honorable Van Veek, they say that you play seven, so we are passing the ball to you. They say you are the fastest. Over
yes,
to
no,
you. Thank you very much.
yes, we've got a 4 o'clock meeting. So.
I know, I know, I'm still on the budget, but thank you very much. All the best. Happy Friday. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Constable, I'm sure you are now happy that there is some money going to the Karoo.
Yeah, this is just a start.
This is just a start, so we are coming.
Yes. Yes.
No, fantastic. No, I'm happy that you are happy.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you.
Okay, then. Cheers.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.